What's going on, NFL fans? After the first night of the draft, I figured I'd go over my NFL draft grades. Let's get into it. The first pick, Jacksonville took Trayvon Walker. I give it a B grade. I didn't like Trayvon Walker. I thought there was way too much hype on him. I thought he was the third best edge rusher in the class. I thought Aiden Hutchinson was way safer. Jags GM wanted him, but his judgment so far this offseason getting Zay Jones and Christian Kirk doesn't really leave him a good track record. When the Detroit Lions took Aiden Hutchinson at 2 overall, it was an A+. He was the best player in this draft, the safest player in this draft. They got hit a home run pick, and they didn't even have to do anything. With the third pick, the Texans took Derek Stingley. I get he's Lovie Smith's type cornerback, but when you have so many needs, picking an injury-prone corner, I don't think was the best decision, so I gave it a B+. Jets started the night off with a bang, selecting Ahmad Gardner at number 4. I give the pick an A. Best corner, I think, in the draft class. Without the injury concerns, they needed a corner. They got one. Giants started their night off with a bang, too, selecting Kayvon Thibodeau. At one point, he was considered the number 1 prospect in the draft. They got him down at 5. At the very least, he was the second best edge rusher, so I gave him an A+. They needed an edge rusher, so they selected Thibodeau. Not a lot to say. With the 6th pick, the Panthers selected Ike Ekwonu. I really liked him, just not as a left tackle, especially with Evan Neal still on the board. Their quarterback situation's still in dire straits. Rumors are they want to trade for Baker or Jimmy G. I don't think those guys would be who they are without their head coaches, so I believe that would be a mistake, as Ben McAdoo is not as talented as those two guys. A B. Giants continue their great night, selecting Evan Neal. They needed a right tackle. They selected what could be the best tackle in the class, so I give them an A+. Falcons selected Drake London with the 8th pick. He's not a bad player, but I think with Garrett Wilson still on the board, they should have went Wilson. I give the pick a B. Could be solid, but I think Wilson was a better prospect. With the 9th pick, the Seahawks selected Charles Cross. I give it an A. Even if they draft one later on, a quarterback, their left tackle is not in a great spot, so selecting Cross eliminates the need for a left tackle. With the 10th pick, the Jets selected Garrett Wilson, best wide receiver in the class. They needed a number 1 wide receiver, as Corey Davis wasn't the answer. They needed a number 1 to help Zach Wilson develop, so they got Wilson. Not a lot else that could go wrong here. A. The Saints traded up to get Chris Olave. I give it a B. He's a solid wide receiver, but Marquez Callaway, I think, showed that he can't be a number 1 wide receiver, but with Michael Thomas coming back, he shouldn't have to be a number 1. They added more firepower. I guess that's not a bad idea, but there were still some other players on the board who could have helped the Saints a little bit more. Detroit Lions traded up with the Minnesota Vikings. I give them an A+ to get Jamison Williams. They needed a number 1 wide receiver. They didn't give up too much to move up with a division rival. A+ player, need a wide receiver. They got one. Trades continue as the Eagles traded up with the Houston Texans to select Jordan Davis. A very solid player, but with Hargreave and Cox, I don't really think it was that big of a need, especially when Kyle Hamilton was sitting there and they desperately need a safety. B+. With the 14th pick, the Baltimore Ravens selected Kyle Hamilton. Safety wasn't the biggest need, but a top 5 player fell into their lap. They selected him. It's an A+ pick. The 15th pick, the Houston Texans selected Kenyon Green. Don't hate the pick. It's a B-, though. I think Zion Johnson was a better guard prospect, but they built the offensive line up. With the 16th pick, the Washington Commanders took Jahan Dotson. I don't really have a problem with them picking a receiver. I think there was a better one on the board. B-. 15th pick, the Chargers selected Zion Johnson, a guard. They desperately needed some sort of offensive line help. It was a great pick. A. With the 18th pick, Tennessee Titans traded away A.J. Brown, so they selected Treylon Burks. I think they should have just moved on from Ryan Tannehill, selected a quarterback. That way they had money to pay A.J. Brown. B. With the 19th pick, the Saints selected Trevor Penning. They needed to replace Teron Armstead, so I think this was a B+ pick. 20th pick, the Steelers selected Kenny Pickett. I give it a B. I think Malik Willis would have been the better pick. You got Trubisky, so if Willis needs time to develop. You would have had time. I don't get the need to have a quarterback that could start right now. With the 21st pick, the Kansas City Chiefs selected Trent McDuffie. It's an A-plus pick. Their defense desperately needed some corner help. They selected the third best corner in the draft. With the 22nd pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers selected Quay Walker. I like the pick. They needed another inside linebacker alongside Devondre Campbell. I give it a B+. There was a better linebacker on the board. With the 23rd pick, the Buffalo Bills selected Kaiir Elam. I give it an A. They needed a corner across from White. They got the best one on the board. No brainer. With the 24th pick, the Dallas Cowboys selected Tyler Smith. A lot of people hate it. I give it a B. They desperately needed a left guard to replace Connor Williams. He's not going to be any worse than Connor Williams was. He did all those penalties at tackle, so maybe being moved to the inside will help. I give the Ravens an A+ here to pick Tyler Linderbaum. They needed a center. I don't care what his short arms. I don't care what his weight says. Look at the tape. Look how he held his own. I think he was a home run pick. They needed a center. They got the best one in the draft. With the 26th pick, the Jets selected Jermaine Johnson. It was a good pick. They need another edge rusher across from Lawson. Selecting Johnson, who some considered might even go as high as 10, it was huge. A. The Jags selected Devin Lloyd. Now that they no longer have Miles Jack, they need a linebacker, so it's an A-. Best linebacker, in my opinion, in the draft. They got him all the way at 27. This is where I might get some hate. 29, Devontae Wyatt. I give it a C+. I thought defensive line was in need, but considering your holes at right tackle and wide receiver, you could have picked up George Pickens. You could have got the North Dakota wide receiver. There were wide receivers that you might have been able to reach for a little bit, but it would have hit an area of need, and it wouldn't have been as so bad if you did it at 22. C+, Wyatt. With the 29th pick, the Patriots decided to get into a lot of heat by selecting Cole Strange, but let me just go over some things. I don't think he would have made it very far into the third. I definitely don't think he would have been in the fourth. Also, scouts and analysts, they're different. Scouts, they had Wyatt Davis graded as a backup offensive lineman. Meanwhile, analysts believed he was the best one available. Strange handled Kinlaw very well. I think to give him the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to give the Patriots a C+ here. 30th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs selected George Karlaftis. I love the pick. I think it's an A. They need another edge rusher across from Frank Clark to keep up with the other edge rusher duos in the division. With the 31st pick, the Bengals selected Daxton Hill. I might get a lot of hate. I think it's a B. They had a bigger need for an outside corner. He's a nickel corner. They still have Mike Hilton. I don't think nickel corner or safety was as big of a need as an outside corner. With Andrew Booth on the board, there was a better pick. With the 32nd pick, Minnesota selected Lewis Cine. I'm giving it a B-. He's not a bad player. It's unfortunate that the circumstances, and it's going to be around him for a while, is the trade. I don't think it was a great trade. You moved down 20 spots in the first round to move up 10 spots in the second and gain a third. It's just like, I don't know how much value that third really got you. And it's just going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it happens. People are saying he's the replacement for Harrison Smith. You're making an all-in push this year you signed Zadarius Smith. You re-signed Patrick Peterson. You re-signed Kirk Cousins. You're making an all-in play. You're not looking for the future. You want to win right now. So, I like Cameron Bynum to play alongside safety with him. I look at Lewis Cine. I look at Kyle Hamilton. I think Kyle Hamilton's a better safety. However, I can't look at it like that. You got to look at who they get with 34. You got to look at who they get with 66 and compare that with Kyle Hamilton. And we'll see how that goes. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Peace out.